At 0340 local time, an Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps speedboat convoy of 11 vessels pushes out of Bandar Abbas at full throttle, racing toward a U.S. Navy carrier strike group centered on USS Gerald R. Ford, operating in the northern Arabian Sea. The IRGC commander on the lead boat has his orders: harass, provoke, and force the Americans to blink first. He has done this a dozen times before. Americans always back down. Tonight is different. What he cannot see on his radar, because it is designed to be invisible to exactly the kind of equipment his boat carries, is that an MH-60R Seahawk helicopter from HSM 46 Grandmasters has been tracking his entire convoy for the past 47 minutes from 8,000 feet in complete darkness. Its FLIR system painting every boat in crisp infrared white against the black water. The helicopter crew has a targeting solution on all 11 vessels simultaneously. They are waiting for one thing: permission. On the bridge of USS Gerald R. Ford, the strike group commander watches the feed from the Seahawk on his command display. The IRGC boats are now 900 meters from the carrier's security zone boundary. 800 meters. 700. His rules of engagement are clear. The boundary is 500 meters. At 600 meters, he picks up the radio. The message to the IRGC commander is brief, professional, and final. You are approaching a United States Navy vessel. Turn back immediately, or we will consider your approach an act of aggression and respond accordingly. The IRGC commander does not turn back. He accelerates. At exactly 512 meters, the strike group commander sets down the radio and gives a single word order: prosecute. What happens in the next 4 minutes rewrites every calculation Iran has made about American restraint in the Persian Gulf for the past 2 decades. The MH-60R drops to 200 feet, and its crew fires 2 AGM-114 Hellfire missiles in rapid succession. The lead IRGC speedboat, 50 feet of fiberglass and rocket launchers, simply ceases to exist in a fireball visible from the Ford's flight deck 4 miles away. Before the debris hits the water, an FA-18E Super Hornet from VFA-31 Tomcatters that has been orbiting at 18,000 feet on combat air patrol rolls in and puts a GBU-38 500-pound JDAM through the engine compartment of the second boat. The explosion lifts the stern completely out of the water. The remaining 9 boats scatter in 9 different directions simultaneously. It does not help them. 2 more Seahawks that have been holding position 12 miles north now push south at 160 knots. USS Leyte Gulf, the Ticonderoga-class cruiser screening the Ford 15 miles to the southwest, has already designated 4 of the fleeing boats with her Spy-1 radar and passed firing solutions to the helicopters via Link 16 before the IRGC crews have even finished turning. This is what decades of carrier strike group integration looks like in practice. Every platform sees the same picture. Every weapon knows exactly where every target is. The IRGC boats are not fighting a ship. They're fighting a network. And networks do not panic, do not hesitate, and do not miss. Within 11 minutes of the first Hellfire leaving the rail, 7 of the 11 IRGC vessels are burning or sinking in the northern Arabian Sea. The remaining 4 boats, running at maximum throttle back toward Bandar Abbas, are being tracked by 2 F-35C Lightning IIs from VFA 147 Argonauts that crossed into the engagement area from the south so quietly that the IRGC crews have no idea they are being followed home. The F-35 pilots are not there to shoot anyone. They're there to watch where those boats go, what pier they tie up to, what facility they return to, and to pass every coordinate back to the targeting cells aboard the Ford via Link 16 in real time. Iran just showed the US Navy exactly where their fast attack boat infrastructure lives. Back aboard the Ford, a different sequence is already in motion. Because those 11 speedboats were not just a provocation, they were a probe, and the targeting officers in the Ford's Combat Direction Center have been watching Iranian activity across the entire northern Arabian Sea for the past 6 hours, and they recognize a probe when they see one. 40 minutes before the speedboats launched, an Iranian Kilo-class submarine departed Bandar Abbas on an easterly heading and went silent. a P-8A Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft from VP-16 War Eagles operating out of Al Dhafra Air Base in the UAE has been hunting it ever since, with a pattern of sonobuoys stretching across the submarine's most probable route. At 0423 local time, sonobuoy number 17 picks up a contact. Low-frequency blade rate signature consistent with a Kilo-class diesel-electric running on batteries at 4 knots, 340 meters below the surface, 60 miles southeast of the carrier. The P-8 crew drops 2 more buoys to triangulate, confirms the contact, and passes the coordinates to USS Bainbridge, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer operating 40 miles south of the Ford. Bainbridge's sonar team had already been building a track on the contact for 20 minutes. Her commanding officer has a targeting solution and the authority to prosecute. He does not need to call anyone. The destroyer turns to the intercept heading, accelerates to 28 knots, and at 0441 local time launches 2 Mk-54 lightweight torpedoes from her forward torpedo tubes. The Kilo never changes course. Whether its crew never detected the Bainbridge or simply had no time to react will be debated in Iranian naval circles for years, assuming those circles still exist. The first torpedo detonates 14 meters from the submarine's pressure hull. The second detonates directly beneath the conning tower. At 0443 local time, the contact disappears from every sonar screen in the battle group simultaneously. The Arabian Sea is 3,400 meters deep at that location. Nobody is recovering anything. By dawn, the scope of what just happened is becoming clear to Iranian military leadership, and the decisions made in the next 2 hours will determine whether this stays a naval incident or becomes something far larger. Iran's Supreme National Security Council convenes an emergency session at 0600 local time. The IRGC naval commander briefs the losses. 7 fast attack boats destroyed. 1 Kilo-class submarine lost with all hands. 4 boats retreating with damage. The response options on the table range from a formal diplomatic protest, which nobody in the room seriously considers, to a full ballistic missile salvo against the carrier strike group, which the one general who suggests it immediately regrets suggesting when 3 others point out simultaneously that the Gerald R. Ford strike group has an Aegis destroyer screen specifically designed to intercept exactly that kind of attack, and that lighting up a ballistic missile battery right now would invite a response that makes this morning look like a parking dispute. What Iran actually does is what Iran almost always does when it loses badly and cannot admit it publicly. It activates its proxies. By 0800 local time, encrypted message traffic between Tehran and Houthi leadership in Yemen spikes to levels not seen since the Red Sea shipping disruption campaign of late 2023. An RC-135 rivet joint signals intelligence aircraft orbiting over the Gulf of Oman catches every transmission. NSA analysts at Fort Meade begin processing the intercepts within minutes. What they read determines the next phase of the operation. Because buried in the Houthi activation messages is something the intelligence community has been looking for 6 months: coordinates. Specifically, the coordinates of 3 IRGC command nodes inside Yemen that have been directing Houthi anti-ship missile attacks against commercial shipping in the Red Sea. Nodes that have been deliberately mobile and carefully hidden, changing location every 72 hours on a rotation designed to stay ahead of satellite coverage. But in the rush of the emergency activation, the IRGC handlers transmitted from a fixed location for the first time in 4 months. They will not transmit from that location again. They will not transmit from any location again. At 0917 local time, 2 BGM-109 Tomahawk land attack missiles launched from USS Bainbridge impact the IRGC command node in the mountains north of Sana'a, with a combined 900 pounds of high explosive. The building that housed 6 Iranian Revolutionary Guard officers directing the entire Houthi maritime campaign is rubble before the smoke from the morning's naval engagement has finished drifting east over the Arabian Sea. At 0940 local time, the Pentagon press secretary steps to the podium and reads a prepared statement that is exactly 4 sentences long. United States naval forces operating in international waters were approached in a threatening manner by Iranian vessels early this morning. Our forces responded in accordance with standing rules of engagement and in exercise of our inherent right of self-defense. The vessels no longer pose a threat. We consider the matter closed. The matter is not closed. In the mountains of western Iran, IRGC ballistic missile units that received the emergency activation order at 0600 have been moving Shahab-3 launchers out of hardened tunnels since dawn. Satellite imagery from ANRO Constellation Pass at 10:34 local time shows 11 transporter erector launchers dispersed across 4 provinces. The image is on the desk of the CENTCOM commander at MacDill Air Force Base within 22 minutes. He looks at it for about 4 seconds and picks up the phone. By 1100 local time, the same F-15 IRAM strike packages that spent months pre-planned for exactly this contingency are pushing east from their staging bases.